Today we are going to add a small backend to our Next.js application without creating a separate fast API, Django, Next.js or Express server. We will build a contact form. When a user enters their name, email and message, the frontend will send that information to a Next.js API endpoint. We will then deploy the complete application on Vercel. The interesting part is that we will not manually create or manage a server. Vercel will run our backend function whenever someone submits the form. This is called a serverless function. But a serverless does not mean that there are no servers. Servers still exist. It simply means that we do not have to create, configure, or maintain them ourselves. In traditional backend deployment, this thing happens. Let me show you the cursor screen. Frontend makes a request to a continuously running backend server, and then that fetches from database or another service. You normally configure a machine or container, a running backend process, ports, scaling, server maintenance, deployment infrastructure. But with a serverless function, this kind of thing happens. User submits form, Vercel runs the contact function, function validates the data, function returns a response. You write the function, the hosting platform manages the underlying infrastructure. Vercel describes its functions as server-side code that runs without requiring developers to manage servers and that can adapt to user demand. Imagine that you want to sell tea. With the traditional approach, you rent a shop for the entire month. The shop remains available even when there are no customers. With the serverless approach, the platform gives you a counter when a customer arrives. You serve the customer, return the result, and the platform manages the counter. You pay attention to the tea, the platform takes care of the shop infrastructure. When these serverless functions are useful for small backend operations such as contact forms, newsletter signups. So let me write when serverless functions are useful. So these are useful for small backend operations such as contact forms, newsletter signups, feedback forms, payment webhooks, sending emails, reading or writing small amounts of data, connecting the front end to third-party APIs. There is an important limitation. A serverless function should not depend on the variables stored in memory between requests. For example, this is not reliable permanent storage. Like const messages equal to an empty list. The function may return in different instances. Use a database, email service, or other persistent system when the data must be saved. So the limitation is a serverless function should not depend on variables stored in memory between requests. The function may run in different instances, use a database or email service or other persistent system when the data must be saved. You can use an existing Next.js app router project or create a new one. So I will be creating a new project. So let me open the terminal and write this command. So let us wait till it runs. This will be our project structure. Let's install the dependencies using pnpm instead of npm. So I will go cd serverless and write pnpm I. So as you can see in the folders, there is no node modules. So it has not yet installed the dependencies. I will be installing it now by writing the command pnpm I using pnpm package manager. And this will be our project structure. The URL structure comes from the folder app/api/contact/route.ts, and it becomes API/contact. A Next.js Route.ts file can export handlers for HTTP methods such as get, post, put, patch, and delete. Let's create the API route. So let us create an API folder, then a contact folder, and a route file inside them. Let's put this code here. The post function is this. Let us understand this code. So this function export async function post. It runs when someone sends a post request to /API/contact. The form sends JSON. The statement reads and converts that JSON into a JavaScript object. Then we do server-side validation. We check that every field is text, no field is empty, the email has a reasonable format, the message is not excessively long. Client-side validation improves the user experience, but server-side validation is still necessary because anyone can send requests directly to a public endpoint. Next.js documentation notes that route handlers and public HTTP endpoints. That route handlers are public HTTP endpoints. Then for invalid data, we return response.json. All fields are required. Send valid data. For a successful submission, we return this kind of response. The status code should communicate the result. 201 means successfully created or accepted. 400 means invalid request. 500 means unexpected server error. Now let's create the contact form. So let's create a contact folder and a page.ts text file inside there. Let's put the code here. Why use client is required? This page uses use state, form events, browser side fetch, interactive loading, and success messages. Therefore, it must be a client component. Now let us test this locally. So I will run pnpm dev. I need to fix the PNG workspace. So let us set this as true. The shortcut to select multiple selections with the same text is Control D. Now the code is running at this port. Let us open it in simple browser. Localhost 3012. It is compiling it. Okay. So let's go to slash contact. Okay, now let us write the name. Let's name Rahul. Rahul at the rate example.com. And message can be I want to learn more about the course. Let's send the message. And we are getting the response as thank you, your message has been received. Now let's remove the required attribute temporarily or send a manual request with an empty value. So let me name it as Rahul and some message and let me send it. So let me remove the required field sometime and send the message. So I'm getting the output as all fields are required. And similarly, we can get for the invalid message or other cases. Open the now we can inspect in the console window. Go to the network and look at the payload request payload. So let me send the message once again. So once I click on send message, I type Rahul here and some message, send message, and we are getting this 400. So if I click on payload, then I can see that this email is empty. The flow is this. The contact form fetches the post slash API slash contact route handler. Then it goes, does the validation. Then it gives back the JSON response. Then it can be a success or error message. Before deployment, let's run npm build. So as we are done with the local testing, now let's deploy this. And before deployment, we will have to do npm build. And fix any TypeScript or build errors before pushing the project. If any error is there, we need to fix that before pushing the project. Now it has the build has passed. Let us now initialize the Git repo. So git init git add dot I add everything uh, to the staging. Let's check again the git status. These files are ready to be committed. Now let's add git commit. Let's do git commit, and now let's rename the branch. So git branch minus m main. Now we need to attach the remote URL. So let us create a new repository. So I will be using GitHub CLI. So GH you can see this is a GitHub CLI. You can also install this, and then you can create a repository just by the command line in the GitHub. So I will write gh repo create. The name would be really engineering day 28, and it will be a public repo. Now I will be adding the remote to our local repo. So git remote add, and this will be the origin. The name will be origin. Now we have added the remote. Now we can push the code. So git push with upstream, that is the branch has to be created in the GitHub repository. Origin main. Now that we have pushed the code, we need to import it into Vercel. Now we need to go inside the Vercel and import the GitHub repository. We will click on the new project, and in the new project we need to import the GitHub repository. So I will search for real engineering day 28. I will import it. Confirm that Vercel detects Next.js, and I will write the root directory as app, or maybe I can keep it as I think we can keep the root directory as it is. Let's see, because it has already detected the Next.js application. So let's keep the root directory as ./root. And now let's deploy it. Vercel can connect directly to GitHub, automatically deploy new pushes, and create preview deployments for changes or pull requests. When using the Next.js app router, Vercel deploys files under app/API/as functions. Therefore, app/API/contact/route.ts becomes a deployed backend function. So this is the route. This will be deployed as a backend function. Okay, so it has been deployed. Now let us open it, and let's go to /contact, and let's write the requests Rahul at the rate example.com. Messages, I want to know about the course. Know more about the course, and let us send the message. Okay, so thank you, the message has been arrived. The front-end request will now go to /API/contact. Now let's inspect its function or runtime logs in the Vercel. So let's go to the Vercel and Check the logs. I will check the logs of real engineering D20. So you should see something similar to new contact form submission with the name, email, and received at. Every successful Vercel build creates a deployment with its own URL, and the deployment details show the functions generated by the project. Now, finally, let us discuss some common mistakes. The first mistake is using the wrong file name. So, writing like app slash API slash contact slash page.ts is wrong. The correct is app slash API slash contact slash route.ts. A page displays UI. A route handles HTTP requests. Second mistake is opening the post route in the browser. Entering this directly in the address bar like the slash API slash contact sends a GET request. Our route only supports post, so it will not behave like the form submission. Test it through the contact form, Thunder client, Postman, or CURD. Third mistake is forgetting the content type. The frontend should send headers as content type application JSON, as you can see here. Content type application JSON while making the post request. Next, fourth mistake is forgetting JSON.stringy file. So, writing like body is contact data. That is wrong. We need to do JSON.stringify contact data. Fifth mistake is forgetting use client. We need to use the use client directive on the top. Without it, the page cannot use user state or submit events as an interactive client component. Sixth mistake is assuming console.logs saves submissions. So this line, maybe we are not using here, but the line console.log contact data only writes information to logs. It does not save the submission permanently. For a real project, connect the function to a PostgreSQL, MongoDB, Supabase, Firebase, an email provider, or a customer support system. So we are just logging it in the route. We are logging it console.log. We actually need to save it in database. Seventh mistake is trusting only browser validation. HTML attributes such as required improve the interface, but users can bypass the browser and call the API directly. Always validate important data inside the server-side function. Eighth mistake is treating it like a large permanent server. Serverless functions have execution payload memory and resource limits. They are excellent for small request response operations, but long-running background jobs and large file processing may need a different architecture. Ninth mistake is ignoring abuse production. The endpoint is public. Before using it in a serious production application, consider rate limiting, CAPTCHA, spam protection, input sanitization, authentication when appropriate, avoiding unnecessary personal data logging. Today we created both front-end and back-end functionality inside one Next.js project. One contact page collected the information. The browser sent a post request to slash API slash contact. The route handler read and validated that request. It returned either a success response or an error response. When we deployed the project on Vercel, Vercel converted the route handler into a hosted function. That this is the basic idea of serverless development. We write a small function, the platform runs it when a request arrives. We do not manually maintain a continuously running backend server. Serverless functions are especially useful when we need small backend features alongside our front-end application. However, we should remember that blocks are not permanent storage, functions have limits, and public endpoints need validation and protection. Now the task for today. Extend the contact form with the subject field. The completed solution must do these things. Send name, email, subject, and message. Validate the subject inside the API route. Limit the subject to 100 characters. Display server validation errors on the page. Deploy the updated application version. Submit the then after you do this, deploy the updated application version and then submit the production URL as evidence. So one sentence learner evidence can be: I created a Next.js Route Handler, connected it to a contact form, and deployed it as a serverless function on Vercel, and then provide the URL.